happy feet, happy life. Listen to this. All right. There's a thing you could do right now if you haven't. Take your shoes off, if you can, right where you are, possible, and your socks. And as people say, oh, my feet smell, yeah, because they're cramped in there all the time, and probably look at what you eat. Are your feet breathing? Okay. So what you want to do, why happy feet, happy life, and I realize that how important my feet have been on my spiritual journey, because of being ridiculed for having wide feet, which they're great feet, and they serve me well, but my foot, I guess, was wider than the other people in my family, and so it was funny to them, and then I'd feel bad and be really conscious of that all the time. Always, again, what will other people think? You know, in my book, What You Think of Me Is None of My Business, which you can get out there. It's so cool, because how we just give the power to other people, and always care, what do they think? What do they want me to do? What is blah blah blah? Yes, it's wonderful to be concerned, in a sense, to be there and to help others attain what they need and want, if it's possible, and if it's in harmony with your divine purpose and mission, and to be really truly who you are, to attain the topmost that's possible to any living entity. And that has nothing to do with world control, world domination. It has nothing to do with having all the stuff and all the goodies and lording it over everybody, and, you know, developing ways to, you know, to cull the herd and to suck off and use energy, and, you know, and animal slaughter, all this kind of stuff. That is not us and not who we are. Yet we're choosing moment to moment to then give energy and power to this false reality, like we talked about before, like you see the reflection of the mountain with the snow and the trees in the water. And that reflection is like this reality. It's upside down, and it's a reflection, shadow-like reflection. But that's the real, you see. So that's the truth and the divine, and that's who we really are. And yet to play in the illusion, you say, in the reflection, you have to take a part and a role in it and make it important and real, and this is how it is, and hopefully this time, and all the stuff that's generating thoughts and desires and pain and suffering, and begin to realize that actually thoughts destroy people's lives. I've known people who could not leave the past behind, in the sense that if only this coulda, shoulda, woulda, but they couldn't get that it didn't. But what is it to you? You can never be harmed. I can never be harmed or hurt as to who I am. You want to say that? I can never be harmed or hurt as to who I am, you see. No. It's like, you know, something I learned when I did my ministry. And in the 80s and, you know, late 70s, on television in La Jolla and San Diego and all of that, was that it took PR, because that is public relations, which is broadcasting you or your message to people out there, for those people who could be interested to know you're there and what you offer and what you do. But you can also see how people can put out a false reality, a false PR. And I noticed that too. You know, some of the people that, celebrities kind of people I knew, that, you know, anyway, how they would use PR to cover their tracks when they got caught doing something, like maybe pedophilia, or they got caught being a mafia person, or whatever it would. Then they'd use PR to cover. By the next day, they give them money or awards to someone. And it shows what a wonderful person they are, and it couldn't beat it. So it's always using it to control thoughts and what people think and what they believe. And whoever controls your thoughts or your actions is because you're believing in those thoughts. But you look at what those thoughts are going to produce. And what happens is we are basically like producers, because and we're like the executive producer in a sense, because we're using our energy, our life force, all our creative talents and abilities to manifest realities out there where people are suffering. So when we get back to the feet and why it's so important of being healthy and feeling good, and how we can do that is to get our back in touch with nature, and not to get as far away from it as possible, so it's clean and spotless, and spray away all the bugs, and everybody's got a thing being stacked naked, naturally, so you all look like the little Martha Stewart of this and that, which is what. That's all. I mean, it's maybe pretty and it's nice. You got to clean all that stuff. You realize that? Like where I live, there's like it's beautiful, but it's like this, it's an old house, 130 years old. It's really cool though, and but yet, dust all the time, and then the cat goes all the time. You go like this, but you know what? Cleaning the house is good for the body, and it's good for the soul, because I'm cleaning it because it belongs to my beloved God. You see, and it's like when you get into that and being the barefoot outside and freeing your feet, take your shoes off right now, and make sure you're getting out there, but make sure it's clean where you're walking, but at least to get to the beach or get where you can, and start bringing yourself back into harmony with the divine that you're part of, and to stop limiting yourself and the creating the sickness and the dis-ease and the conflict and all in the mind. So you have to take more and more artificial things, chemicals or whatever it may be, so you could finally feel good and you could turn off the mind. Meditate. It's not really hard. And you realize, then you got to realize what your thoughts are doing and what that energy is doing, because this is who you are. So anyway, to feel good and happy feet or a happy life, you start getting back to who you really are, and being able to, you got to be careful. When I was living in India, so I was walking barefoot around some place that I'll tell you, the sewage or whatever, but it's a holy site. So about 6 months later, when I came back here, I found I had a tapeworm that came up through the bottom of my feet. Anyway, you also got to be careful where you walk. And if you can make some nice little grassy place that you have, it's a nice comfortable place to begin. And then like here, I'm loving walking barefoot now, where all of the rocks and everything are stimulating all those points in the bottom of the feet, so I'm getting foot reflexology and that energy. And you have to be conscious and be in the now, or you'll stumble and you'll hurt your toes. So when you're freeing yourself of all these mental constraints, all of this stuff that creates suffering and destruction and pain and hatred and war and all, where's it going? In the mind. And when you come from your heart and who you are, you see, get back to who you are. The little child inside, but who's also very wise and mature, you see, tuned in to the divine, by being here now. Breathe. Give those feet some freedom. Get them out of that jail. Twinkle of toes.